What's up, everyone? It's the Interview Queen Alicia Toot here, and be sure to watch True Heel Heat.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
Hello everyone, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at True Heel Heat. Yeah!
This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero, and if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to the boys.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3, and we are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube and Facebook for our WWE Wrestlepalooza 2025 review, breaking down this past Saturday's huge, first ever, historic premium live event on ESPN, the ESPN new direct-to-consumer app, and we're going to discuss it all with you. But to do that, I am joined by my esteemed colleague today. You know him over on Fightful for all his written work. He does written work for numerous different places, and of course, we have had him here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel a few times. He is Robert DeFelice. How are you doing, Rob?
I'd be doing better if we were talking about any other show. Just any other show. Just what do we do? I mean, you got it saying Wrestlepalooza because you might as well have fallen asleep. Well, you would have if you didn't have AEW All Out on the other screen keeping you awake.
Yes, definitely. The fact that they had the audacity to put on Brock Lesnar versus John Cena against Hangman Adam Page versus Kyle Fletcher is outrageous, and is basically the kind of the amalgamation of the two promotions right now and where they're at.
Yeah, I mean, one promotion is putting on top young stars, and the other one basically gave a nostalgia trip for about 3 hours with a lot of people who can't do just weren't going like they used to.
No, no, and we'll talk about certain people that even the people that are like not considered in that conversation. As you said before we went live, we're looking a little bit slow on this show, so we'll discuss that as well. But yes, we appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all for watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back. The simplest way possible is by dropping a thumbs up on this video. That helps out the YouTube algorithm. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, you can sound off in the comment section if you're watching us on demand. If you're with us live, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys. Hear your thoughts on WWE Wrestlepalooza 2025, and of course we'll highlight as many of your comments as possible. But if you want to show your support to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, make sure your comment is highlighted on screen. You could do so with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate the support. We got one of our members of the channel in the chat today, I Make Beats, who has been a member for 13 months now, over a year. I Make Beats. We appreciate you for all the support, good brother. We got Davion, who says, hey, SP3 and Robert, hope y'all have had a great day outside of 2 matches. This pay-per-view didn't do it for me. So,
yeah, I would probably agree with that assessment. There was a couple matches on the show that were special for wildly different reasons. One was just genuinely a great match, and one had a lot of fun vibes to it, but the show overall, it really felt like it didn't need to be, and it really felt like it didn't need to be on Saturday. Put the show on Sunday night, maybe the view is different. You know, after watching AEW for what was legit at that point like 7 hours, you know, like maybe the vibes would have been different around this show. I'm not saying it would have saved some of the performances, but it might have been received better.
Yeah, there's one match on this show I don't think any time it would have happened, it would have not went down well. But I think everything else, I agree with you. This show would have a much better outlook on it and a much better reception to it if it didn't go head to head on the same day as All Out. And honestly, Nick Khan, I've heard this said a couple of times on social media coming out of Saturday, but it's kind of true. Nick Khan and Triple H and WWE kind of did AEW a favor. I think they figured out that the long pay-per-view show, you get, I haven't heard as many complaints. I've still heard that complaint, but I've heard less complaints with it starting in the afternoon than when it's in the evening.
Coming from somebody who has to like be covering it and actually, you know, keeping track of the news, so much better in the afternoon. I wish for them to keep it like this permanently. It's easier to digest. You're not like tired going through the scrum where you're just like, okay, let's get to the point here. You feel better overall, and I think you're right. I think they did do them a favor.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out for everybody. WWE, of course, recorded record profits and live gates and all the stuff that they look for. But as a fan, as people that are, you know, I do this content creation, so I have to analyze and look at the product and critique it if I can. There just is like a lack of effort being done by WWE creatively. I have nothing against their roster. Their roster is stellar. There's so many people that I love on their roster, and it's the real reason, outside of just doing content creation, why I continue to watch the product, because they have some of the best wrestlers in the world today. But the creative are behind WWE. I think that is where it's really been lacking, and of course, we'll get into that with the opening matchup. But what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. I think one of the kind of unfortunate takes is that people try to crap on the roster because of where they're working. But the truth is, this roster can go. You know, this roster can go up and down the card. They did not display most of the performers who can go up and down the card, but they do have a stellar roster. My issue, even beyond the creative, because the creative to me is stagnant, but if you've been watching WWE, it's WWE. What's killing me is this new presentation where it's like 25 minutes of commercials. And oh my God, isn't it amazing that we're on ESPN? They put over ESPN more than they've put over some of the WrestleManias in the past. They really acted like this was, the second coming. And I'm like, cable, you guys are the first to figure out cable's dead. And you're like, yeah, ESPN. My God, we made it. We're on ESPN. It felt very strange to me. Very, very strange.
Yeah, it's very much the self-congratulatory style that has become WWE in 2025. They don't just, make the move to Netflix and just put on as great of a show as possible. No, we need, it started with a typewriter and then it evolved to stadiums and this is what we do and I'm here. And any show that starts off with Triple H in it, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a good show at this point.
And
I think if he starts off the show this, especially in 2025, this year, Triple H, if he starts off a PLE, it's probably not going to be their best PLE.
It's insane that, and we'll get into it because I know this was a huge take that took off yesterday, but the goodwill that this company had last year and maybe about half the year before that they've pissed away is phenomenal. It really should be studied.
It really has to. Yeah, I was like, it really has to be studied.
It's got to be studied. You had all of this goodwill that you have just flushed down the toilet, and yes, you're making more money, but my God, it takes a special kind of people in 2025 to make Vince McMahon look like Santa Claus for ticket pricing for families. For everything we know about Vince McMahon, they're out there going, this guy was too considerate of his fellow man. Where are we right now? Like, what is this company doing? Yay, Papa John's is in the middle of the canvas, but like, you have flushed away all of the goodwill, but nobody cares because they get to do their arm movements and they're all just happy to be there, even though they paid $6,000 for a third tier ticket. Like, I don't know how we got here. I really don't.
I don't know either. I don't know. After Vince McMahon tried to figure out for years how to make the fans just take what they're given, just convince them that everything he does is great. Triple H was able to do that to a section of this fan base. So despite them pissing away their goodwill to a large vocal minority of the fan base, they have this great chunk of the fan base that they have convinced to take anything, and as long as they can yeet, as long as they see their entrances, as long as they see some finishing moves, they are happy. They had a good time at the WWE show.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because as a home viewer, like, even forget content for a second, as somebody who wants to be enjoying this, it's not resonating with me as a fan. And as a fan who, if you ask around, I'm generally almost too optimistic and too positive. It's just not clicking. Like, I don't know why they think the vibes culture is going to carry them through as they keep making these mistakes.
It's because they're catering to the TikTok culture, which is the teenage demographic, which is the kids. They feel that they are gaining the fans at a young age that are going to grow up to replace the WWE loyalists who are in their 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s at this point. They're going to be replaced by these people that are finding out about WWE, falling in love with WWE, making their parents pay this enormous amounts of money to go to shows and buy the merchandise. They are doing that right now as kids. They're going to grow up to be those loyalists.
I do agree, and I like the comment on screen here that says, it being on ESPN finally is fitting because they're these legacy brands that are like they're outdated in some ways. And again, I say it's sad because 12, 18 months ago, people were like, "Oh, WWE's back," and it felt like Cody finished the story. You were feeling good, and now it feels like this. Everything's a nostalgia pop.
They went right back. Like I always say, like you can, in like retrospect, you can go back and you can see where everything kind of dies off or where it peaked. Basically, like with WCW is a weird case where they peaked and died on the same night. Starrcade 1997. Like Starrcade 1997 was the culmination of 18-month story, and then they botched it, so they died in the process. And that's really the point. Everybody will say, "Oh, the finger point of doom." No, the finger point of doom was the nail in the coffin. The coffin was already closed, though. So like it was closed at Starrcade, and then they just petered out throughout 1998, and WWE took control of the ratings. With WWE and the Triple H peak, it was. I keep saying it. I'll say it for months, and I'll say it till I have no breath to say it. The peak and the season finale of the Triple H era was War Games last year. That was it. That was a great story beat of Punk getting involved with the Bloodline. You had the Bloodline versus New Bloodline. Bloodline is the real key to the whole Triple H peak and the whole Triple H momentum and WWE's momentum. And that was the end of it. The Civil War is the end of it. That was Endgame. And he just kept going on with the Bloodline. That was a mistake. Then he was like,
Still going.
Then his big story for this year was not something that he just came up with out of nowhere. Mind you, Bloodline was, started under Vince McMahon, not Triple H. So his big thing to be his thing, his story that he's created for this year was not because of something he figured out himself. No. It was to counteract The Rock saying that Cody Rhodes is turning heel. He counteracted that and said, you know what? No. John Cena on his retirement tour turns heel. And everybody, including Travis Scott, said, okay. And then he proceeds to botch. After one of the people say it's one of the greatest heel turns of all time, he proceeded to botch it. And that is it. That's the nail in the coffin for me for the Triple H peak. It's this John Cena heel run and the John Cena retirement tour in totality.
I think so. And I think for me, like if I had to pinpoint a moment where I completely jumped off the ship, it was after R-Truth came back at Money in the Bank and he's just like, part of the show, Pat. As soon as that left his mouth, I said, you just lost everybody's trust. You silver platter, all you got to do is say, we heard you, we brought him back. And he said, nope, that was all part of the show. Yeah, it's really unfortunate as somebody who, like, again, just wants to enjoy professional wrestling. They have made so many decisions. And I mean, that's not even getting into everything else with the outside factors of the Vince stuff, bringing back Lesnar in the middle of all of that, and just continuing to like break down the fan base who doesn't want to think about outside things when watching wrestling.
Yeah.
You keep doing that, and it's not good right now. But I think the opening of this show simplifies that because the bell didn't ring for the first match until about 25 minutes, maybe even longer, after the show kicked off the air.
Yeah, I think crazy enough, like I think Hagman and Fletcher started like 7:15, so I think it started like just a few minutes before this had even gotten to the ring. So that's WWE for you. That's the new era. This is the era that we're in. We do have a super chat donation I wanted to read out by I Made Beats. Thank you so much, I Made Beats, for the support. See you in the chat. No, you have to run. He says SP3 equals YouTube IC champion. Hashtag Workhorse Jones over here.
Can I take that from you on like some trivia contest where you don't cheat, or what?
I'll put it on the line. Yes, I'll put it on the line. I will not come in any of my other aliases, and I will put it
okay.
on the line.
Well, then I feel confident enough that I could take it.
We got Genesis with a super chat donation as well. Thank you to I May Beats. Thank you to Genesis so much. He says, sorry, I missed the All Out review with the crying emoji. You guys have fun with ... whatever this is. Check out the All Out review.
It's a
We had a lot of fun.
palooza, is what this is.
You know, you've heard of parties, right? I got something crazy for you. Have you heard about a palooza?
I'll tell you why, because you felt like a fucking loser after you watched this show. You're like, I have just wasted 3 hours.
You just wasted 3 hours. You just spent $30 on something that you weren't satisfied with. Oh, we got King of the North in the chat who says, congratulations, you fell for it again. Yeah, that's how WWE feels now. I feel like they're just like being like, gotcha again. Gotcha. You thought you were gonna see something special. Because I'll be real. I fell for it. I fell for it. I thought that Saturday was going to be a good show. I thought it would be, but it was. I think the best I could say for it was fine.
Yeah,
just fine.
I personally thought that there would be some kind of major ending, and there wasn't. Largely, it was just your average WWE show. They opened with the match that probably should have closed because regardless what you think about Cena Lesnar, most people were tuning in for Cena Lesnar. It kind of closed with not like a cold championship match, but that wasn't like the most heavy built Cody Rhodes story. Very, very strange card layout, but you know, hey, they got their ESPN deal.
Why does all of Cody's title feuds, like over the last 2 years, have either been one of two things? Person attacks him, gets a title shot, or person was a friend, attacks him, gets a title shot.
Because
that's literally go back and think about every Cody Rhodes title match over the last 2 years. That's basically the description of them all.
WWE doesn't know how to book full-time champions anymore. They know how to book part-time guys, moments. They can book moments, but they can't do, ironically, what Triple H was so used to doing in his own era, which was just, hey, pay-per-view, I'm on Raw the next night, we're off to the next story. They don't know how to do that right now. And I don't know why that is, because that was one of the things I thought would get better under Triple H since he was such a full-time guy, a full-time champion. But I think it's gotten worse. I genuinely think it's gotten worse.
And that's crazy. Like that, I think that's the insane part of 2025 is coming to the realization that he ain't no better than his daddy-in-law. Like he learned, and that's the thing that I kept saying from the very beginning of Triple H's era. I was like, we have to realize this man learned a lot of what he's going to do from Vince McMahon. And we see that a lot. Like I said, the Netflix premiere was like he busted out the Vince playbook and was like, okay, I got to do nostalgia. I got to do the intro of the thing. I got to expose the business. Lots of nostalgia. That's what I need on this show. And then he just did that again on Saturday night. It feels like whenever they have these big premieres on the show, they don't go for let's have a blowaway show, let's go all out. They go for let's say congratulations to ourselves and pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah, you get tired after a while of watching WWE do the look at how great we are show, look at how much history we've made show. It's like, okay, now start putting in the work on the product, because you can keep going overseas. And that's part of the strategy too of going overseas is, hey, we're tapping into these underserved markets. So it's all going to hit like WrestleMania again and again and again, because these markets are underserved. But again, the home viewer, I think, feels left out.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that. It feels like it is just catering to the live fan, but that's not where all your money is coming from. All your money is coming from these streaming services and these cable companies. So you need to put out a better TV show, a better PLE. So I don't get it. And the counter programming, man, it's not helping. It's been part of this whole big pendulum swing in 2025 in regards to fan perception. The fan perception has changed because you have one company that is charging you all this money to come see the show. Now they're charging you money to all these streaming services to keep up with their product. And they also seem so focused on that and not about the quality of their product. Whereas AEW has put an increased focus on the quality of their product. Some things could be good, some things could be bad, but you can't say it's for a lack of effort anymore with AEW. And I think that's coming to fruition, especially when they're giving you great pay-per-views every time out and the TV has gotten better. That's where the fan perception, like it said, we got a super chat yesterday during the All Out review. The only metric that AEW hasn't beaten WWE in 2025 is the business metric.
Yeah. And I don't understand the need for the counter programming. I know Danielson recently said, like, we're not on their level. Why are they going out of their way to try to hurt these shows? And I think that's making the company look worse. It's making their product look worse because now you're forcing wrestling fans to choose. And yeah, okay, you take a few eyeballs away from them, and not even really, because most people have more than one dedicated screen at this point, whether it's their phone, TV. If they want to watch both, they're just going to watch both. You know what I mean? It's shooting yourself in the foot when you don't need to.
Yeah. It's cutting off your nose to spite your face.
That's a pretty big nose.
Yes, it is with Mr. Paul. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Speaking of which, when you think about the Great Palooza, you think about all the great times in WWE. So we got brand new opening then, now, forever intro. We got a history of WWE and working with ESPN and all the sports athletes that have come to the world of WWE, from Shaq to Ben Roethlisberger and all the NFL and NHL players. ESPN viewers got their first taste of legitimately mandatory wrestlers arriving to work montage as well. You'll be happy to know everyone made it there okay. After that, it was right into match number one. Psych, this is WWE. We had another video package that played comparing WWE and ESPN over the years. Then it went to, and that video ended with Triple H. You would think, oh, that's all we need from Triple H tonight. No. Nope, he is in the ring. He's here to introduce the show. He appears in the ring and he says, tonight is the final form of sports entertainment. Take that how you will, I guess.
What?
He welcomes everyone to the ESPN era and cued the fireworks.
Yeah, I don't know what the final form of sports entertainment is supposed to mean, because obviously that's silly. You should say your brand is going to keep evolving, first of all. Second of all, again, you're just on ESPN. Please, like, I agree. Anything is better than Peacock. You know, that just wasn't a great service. But my God, and it's so sad. They're so desperate still. They're chasing that legitimacy of like, but we're legitimate. We're legitimate. We're so legitimate. Please notice us as legitimate. When they have the most rabid, loyal fan base. If they just served their rabid, loyal fan base, they'd still be doing well. They wouldn't have to feel like they're begging for attention all the time. It's just disappointing to me as a fan, who I feel like in the Ruthless Aggression era, which I was growing up in, like they were just kind of focused on themselves for a while. And I think that's when it was my favorite time of watching, before they got into like, let's have all the celebrities, Raw guest hosts. And before all of that, they were just focused on WWE. I think that meant their best.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, this has been a quest that they've been on for the better part of the last 2 decades, is to get that mainstream acceptance, whether it's from Hollywood or whether it's from the sports world, whether it's from MMA. They always want that type of kind of credibility or stamp from those other places, when they are like a conglomerate. They're a $1 billion corporation. Act like you've been here before. Why are you groveling for all these people's acceptance? Like, act like you're one of the prominent. Do you see NBA groveling for the NFL's acceptance and their audience? They would love their audience for sure. NFL is the biggest sports conglomerate out there, but and NBA is not groveling for it like WWE does. Like, it's just ridiculous. And you don't see Adam Silva or Roger Goodell kicking off the Super Bowl or kicking off the NFL playoffs as well.
But Triple H, and I feel bad because I was one of the people who like tried to defend him when he was like, I don't like to be in the spotlight. I was like, it's new. It's a new era. He's just trying to establish that it's him now, not Vince. But like over the months, like I can't defend it anymore. He's always there, just like, okay, we get it. You run the show now. Like, move on. Let it go. Let the show start with the John Cena Brock Lesnar match and let that be the attraction. But no, we had to get through 30 minutes of preamble before we got to the actual show.
Yeah. And WWE has always been in this habit, especially like since like the Attitude Era, where they want the brand of WWE to be the face of the company. They don't want anybody to be bigger than the brand, as big of a star as the brand. But during the TKO era, they have made Triple H the biggest star in WWE. They've made him the face of the company. Like, he's finally gotten what he's wanted, and it's hilarious.
You can argue that was his long game of like, I'm finally the top guy. But realistically, and it's funny you mentioned that because I think a lot of what leads to WWE not wanting to make anyone bigger than the brand is a lot of the stuff that happened surrounding the two people who were in the first match. Because when Brock Lesnar left after the push he got, that's when they started saying, all right, none of you are bigger than the company. And I think that leads to the rise of John Cena, the ultimate company man, as we're going to talk about. And I can't say enough bad things about how they have ruined this man's farewell tour. This was a layup that you somehow still missed. This was John Cena's retirement tour, along with WWE pissing away the goodwill, is stuff that will be talked about when they finally do overcome this and they're ready to talk about how bad the time was when they couldn't figure it out.
And yes, before we get into further things, what did you think about ESPN, the service provider for WWE in the United States, who went as far as when the deal was announced to erase any content that they had talking about, reporting about, or reviewing AEW, put out a review for WWE Wrestlepalooza by the great Andreas Hale, who is great at what he does. So if ESPN wanted to keep themselves honest, they picked the right guy, because he went out and he graded this show a C and called it a disappointment in comparison to how WWE promoted it.
Shout out to him for being able to keep it that honest, because honestly, I would have been like, I think we need to say this is at least an A show so we can sound like we made a good decision here. But shout out to him being genuine, and I think it's a fair grade. I mean, listen, we're going to get into opinions, and I don't know why people don't know how to decipher others' opinions, and suddenly it becomes gospel and we have to debate it because, everything is subjective. But yeah, I would say that I agree with that at least. I think average at best is the most kind way you can describe this show, because they failed because they put it out there like it was going to be some WrestleMania replacement. Why? You weren't booking it like it was. Yes, look, you're not going to get a person who loves AJ Lee more than me on this show. But if you thought AJ Lee was going to suddenly go out there and work to the level of, Mercedes Moné and Tony Storm, then you don't know AJ Lee. If you thought that after only about a year, the Usos coming back together was this big major, no. And like I said, the only thing I can say is you did have Cena and Lesnar, and that's a lot of bad PR for your company right now because you had Cena Lesnar, and then you put it out there first, and it went less than 10 minutes. This just wasn't your best foot forward. A guy like Carmelo Hayes would have been your best foot forward. Look who we got for tomorrow. Look who we got for Carmelo Hayes. We got him for tomorrow. Where's Fraxium on this card? Where is something that would have been like, wow, this is WWE going into the future? Because this show was like WWE at best 10 years ago. Like, honestly, shout out to Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky because they're the only two who don't fit that mold.
It's the only that's like the only match that felt like it belonged on a PLE. Like if we're being honest, and I know you're a fan of AJ Lee, and I love the AJ Lee stuff, and everybody knows how much of a fan I am of Becky Lynch. Start saying Sports Illustrated before Bleacher Report, please, in your promos. I enjoyed their performance, and I thought the match was fun, but it felt like a house show match. It did not feel like a PLE match, especially considering the big main event build they got, and maybe it should have main evented because the main event you put out there, you barely built it. So it was just like, oh, you already messed this up from the beginning because the match placement is all wrong.
Right, you hit the nail on the head.
Vala with a super chat donation who says WWE really needs to rethink what a PLE is because right now it's TV plus at best. Like the only thing different is that they don't run ads during matches. That is literally it.
Yet
is the key word there. Yes.
Because that's another thing. I watched it on Netflix. All right. I was not watching this on ESPN, but I was getting like commercial break bumpers in the middle of my stream, and I'm like, what are we doing here? This is what you're paying a premium price for? It's the monetization. The open greed is a huge problem right now, and I think somebody should talk to somebody and they should try to rein it in a little bit because it's really a slap in the face to the consumer. But again, as long as they keep breaking records and people get to do their arm movements, everybody's good. Arm movements, because it's not just Yeet, it's the Io Sky thing. Everybody's got a little arm movement. Street Profits had it on the Clash show in Paris. Yeah, it's arm movement. I made this joke. That's why they bought AAA, because that's what they want their name to be: arms and ad movements. Like
arms, ads, and
like it's ads and arm movements. That's what it is. That's what these shows are. And unfortunately, it's overshadowing a great roster with a lot of young talent that is there that isn't just being presented yet. That's because this is the company that thinks Chad Gable, after being on TV for 10 years, oh, but he's still a star on the rise. He's been on your program for 10 years. I don't know. I could go on for quite a while with the problems that I feel is plaguing the company.
There was so much wrong with that. But we also got one more super chat donation here from Vala, who says, also, I know the journalistic side of ESPN is independent of the network, but them giving the PLE a C grade was fucking hilarious. It was like from just a general perception of how it looks. That is funny, and WWE has to be tight about it internally.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that's the last time we use letter grades. Just a guess. Just small guess.
Just a guess. It might be the last time Andreas is writing the review.
I think that's the let him write it. I don't think we're doing letters anymore.
Just give your opinion. Give your opinion on it. But thank you for the super chat donations there, Vala. But just when you thought the show was going to begin, no, we need Pat McAfee to show up in a black truck with Mr. Indianapolis, Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton goes to his seat, I guess. McAfee comes out to a huge ovation. Yay! I've missed you so much. Thank God you weren't here for the whole show. But we get John Cena and Brock Lesnar. That is our opening contest. They announced this before the show, a couple of days before the show, actually, that this would be kicking things off. Brock got a huge ovation from the live crowd. You get Cena, who comes out with the Make-A-Wish kids, which you know is always trouble for him. He never wins. Before the...
Why are you doing that to those kids?
Am I wrong?
Why are you doing that to the? But why is the company doing that to those kids? This is the second time now John Cena's come out with a parade of children behind him, only to lose and lose badly.
They must really not like these kids. I don't know. I get the feeling. Before the introductions of the matchup, Cena gets his usual whole big introduction from Alicia Taylor. But before Alicia can introduce his opponent, in comes Paul Heyman to a huge ovation. Ladies and gentlemen, Heyman should appear, and he gives him the big grand introduction, calling him the last real ass kicker. The bell rang, and Lesnar and Cena run at each other immediately. You get Lesnar jumping Cena, sending him into the corner for some shoulders to the gut. Cena punches his way out, but Lesnar sent him to the mat with a clothesline. Another is given, and Lesnar walks around feeling dominant. Lesnar whips Cena into the corner, raising welts all over Cena's back. Lesnar then hit a British Bulldog-style power slam, then threw Cena out of the ring with his first German suplex, with the commentary noting that this is similar to SummerSlam 2014 and the dominant performance there. He then threw Cena. Cena climbed back into the ring, actually, and then Lesnar locked him in a bear hug. Cena fought free, hoisted Lesnar on his shoulders, but Lesnar got free. Hits another clothesline to put Cena down again. He took Cena right back to his favorite city, Suplex City or Suplexpalooza, and tossed him clear across the ring. Cena got up and shoved Lesnar into the turnbuckle. Then he hit a dozen shoulder blocks. Then he hits one AA. Lesnar is getting up right after it. He hits another AA. Lesnar is still somehow, some way able to get to his feet. Cena lifts him up. He hits one more AA. That is 3 in a row. Lesnar is down for the 1, for the 2, but he kicks out before 3. Cena then goes, and he goes in like reverse order of his 5 moves of doom as he goes for the 5-knuckle shuffle next. But Lesnar gets to his feet, picks Cena up on his shoulders. He hits one F5. He lifts him up. He hits a second F5. He lifts Cena up again, hits a third F5. He seemed to be in pain doing it, so he took his time, started walking around, posing, talking trash as he does. Then he lifts Cena up. He hits a fourth F5. Lifts Cena up again after not pinning him after 4 F5s and hits a 5th F5. The referee at this point is begging Lesnar, just end the match. It's over. He picks Cena up again, hits a 6 F5, tells the referee, now it's over. 1, 2, 3. Brock Lesnar defeats John Cena in dominating fashion with 6 F5s in a row. Brock Lesnar picks up the win. He celebrates post-match. Lesnar walks around ringside looking very dominant, then gets back into the ring. The referee tries to stop Lesnar from giving any more damage to Cena, but Lesnar just hoists up the referee on his shoulders and absolutely demolishes this poor referee with an awesome bump on the FI and then tosses him where the referee almost lands on his head. Lesnar then picks up Cena again and hits him with a 7th F5 for good measure. Lesnar takes off his gloves, leaves the ring. Cena finally staggers, not stretcher job or anything. He took 7 F5s. He just walked it off and he left. The fans cheered him, gave him a nice farewell in his final time in Indianapolis, Indiana. This shit stinks. Oh my God. I rewatched it again. I rewatched it again because I was watching Hangman and Fletcher more than this. I had this on a second screen. I did what you said before. If you have two screens, I was like, let me throw it on. Let me see what happens. It's probably not going to last long. But goddamn, I'm looking at Hangman and Fletcher, and then all of a sudden I just see Brock hitting the F5s. Then I just see him hit another F5. I look down again, 1, 2, 3, it's over. I'm like, what the hell was that the match? Was that the match? Like what? What?
That was every Brock Lesnar match since. I don't remember if it was the Goldberg match or what it was that allowed these people to go, hey, we get to do our finisher for 7 minutes straight. And that's all the Brock Lesnar matches are now. I don't know what, from removing the annoyance that Brock Lesnar's even there and all that, from a show standpoint, where do we go from here? Wow, Brock Lesnar beat John Cena again. Okay, does that mean, are we setting him up for Cody? Are we setting him up for what? Is he going to be suspended for F5ing a referee and then come back in the Royal Rumble and you just set up the Gunther WrestleMania match? What did we get out of this? And okay, cool. We had Heyman showed up. That was a surprise. He did the Brock Lesnar because people love that. And I thought he was just going to be ringside. He was gone before the bell rang. So I don't know what the point of that was other than to maybe set up Brock being the 4th or 5th man for the Vision in War Games. But even then, where are we? What did we accomplish here that couldn't have been done otherwise? First of all, even if you just take the match at face value and you say Cena getting mauled by Lesnar, wouldn't that have been more of a fan favorite, fun thing when John Cena was doing the, nobody can touch me, I'm a heel, I'm so sad all the time, Brock beating his ass? Wouldn't that have been better? This was just you're showing kids crying in the crowd. It's wow, what a final tour. This guy's got 5 appearances left. 3 of them have to be matches. So is he even going to build anything for the rest of the run? John Cena did more for that company, genuinely. Maybe not box office. I'm not a stats guy. I could care less. He did more for that company in an on-screen perspective than Austin did, Rock did, Hogan did. I'm talking just pure longevity. And this is his final run. You give him a mid-heel turn. Okay, you give him a couple matches with Randy and Punk. That was fun. You give him 2 or 3 with R-Truth. And then you have him turn babyface on a random segment on a SmackDown. And then he has one decent match with Cody and then gets squashed by... What was this? There's no salvaging this. There's nothing you can do in the next 5 appearances that's going to make me go, well, God, I'm so glad that we did this with John Cena. Because this year should have been him just having fun, wrestling as many people as he could, doing whatever he could to have fun and go out his way. And it really felt like instead, it's the epitome of John Cena being company man and just going, literally what he said to TMZ or whoever it was that interviewed him. Hey, they put people in front of me and I'm just doing it. I'm just doing my job.
Just doing it. Just doing my job. Just a guy doing my job.
Call something. Call something for yourself. You're John Cena. Have a little fun on the way out. But and maybe he was. Maybe getting beat up by Brock Lesnar on a Saturday night in Indianapolis is his idea of fun. For me, it wasn't. It was boring. It was lame. It was a sad ending to what they tried to brand as this big rivalry. They've had a couple good matches on TV. They've had the one really fun one, which was the Extreme Rules, where Brock decided to go nuts and land himself on his head. I thought that was their best match, and
That's their best match, and the most memorable match is the SummerSlam 20.
Yeah, where Brock destroys him, which at the time meant something because John Cena was almost untouchable back then.
What did they do last night? They gave us a poor man's version of that, and then tried to play it off like it was anything close to that. It wasn't. Like I wasn't that young. I was 26 in 2014. I remember it like it was yesterday. The feeling of that was you did not get even a sprinkle of that on Saturday. This was nowhere close to SummerSlam 2014. Nowhere close to the feeling that day. Yeah, there was a couple of fans in the crowd who were crying because their final time seeing John Cena was a poor man's version of John Cena and Brock Lesnar from 2014.
Yeah, I think people wanted to see John slay the beast, and he didn't. You know, like I think people wanted John Cena to have fun. I think the heel turn was fun for 2 seconds. I think they didn't capitalize on it. I don't know what happened with The Rock and Travis Scott. That's also a great comment that I also was wondering myself, where, maybe is it a market issue? I don't know. Like, what was any of that? This is just lame. And like, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, John Cena will do interviews in the later years when he's promoting Ricky Stanicky 2, Stanicky Ricky. And it'll be like, well, I had a good time and I got to say goodbye to my people and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, where is the fun? Where is the fun?
I'm gonna need the John Cena to keep it real like Kurt Angle did about his retirement.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna eventually need him to keep it real and be like, no, was it as I wanted it to go? No. But you can't change stuff. The John Cena way is going to be like, but you can't change those stuff. You live and you learn. It was a great career, and I can't just be defined by my final few months there. But I need him to be real before the but and be like, it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't how I envisioned it. Because there is no excuse. This is... We wasted a date on an angle to set up another matchup. I'm just saying that this is going to be the final time.
Yep. By the way, that guy is the best at media trained corporate speaking. He's everybody's dream employee. He speaks like he's this philosopher for the most simple things. Well, you can't go against the will of the audience. They are our biggest superstar, and they spoke, and we had to listen. And I do kind of want John Cena to say, yeah, it wasn't what it was supposed to be, but we tried to make the most of it. At least that. Say something that says, hey, I wanted more. Because this doesn't feel like what I thought we were going to get.
No, this hasn't even come close. And they gave you like the perfect template with Sting, and you have veered so far away from that. It's not even funny. So,
yeah, it's so true. Like, I know John Cena would never do it, but God, if there's some guy who I now wish would go to AEW to have a final run, it might be John, because they gave Sting a good run. They've given Copeland a better run. WWE was giving him. Like, John Cena might need the AEW treatment.
Yeah, imagine his final match against Copeland. Give it to me. Give it to me.
That's the way I would have had it.
But that wasn't the only thing on. My final question about this matchup: do you think Brock is the final opponent? Because I do. I think that this is just the setup. The way they did the post match really told me. I was like, oh, this is not the end. This is a setup for the him
go. No, I think he's going out with Gunther. I think Gunther's going to squash him on Saturday night's main event, and I think Gunther gets part of Gunther's.
So they're just not gonna. They just started this story, did an angle instead of a real matchup, and they're not gonna follow up on it, or they're gonna
probably because that's what John was doing before this. Before he announced his retirement run, John Cena from like 2017 onward was just, "Hey, I'm doing a match. Hey, I got my ass kicked. Bye." Like, that's what he was doing for about 4 or 5 years. So I could see that being it.
Yeah. So we'll see what happened. I think he is the retirement matchup because there's no reason to put over Brock Lesnar over John Cena unless you're setting up the retirement match and he can overcome the beast in his final match. The Usos are next up, and they are reunited, and it feels so good. They come out to their theme music, and they're yeeting all over the place. They get 2 reruns of their theme music here. Before we went live, before on the pre-show, you had an angle where the Vision and the Usos got into it backstage, which led to GM Adam Pearce naming LA Knight, would be the special guest referee for this tag team battle. Once Indianapolis was after done yeeting all over the place, the bell rang. Reed and Jay kicked things off with a lockup. Reed came out the better and pounded at Jay in the corner. Jay turned the tables with a kick to the ear, and then he tagged in Jimmy. They did the double super kick to Reed and then splashed him in the corner. Reed fought back, though, and tagged in Breaker. Breaker isolated Jimmy in the corner and laid in some shoulder tackles until Jimmy and the Vision pulled out a steel chair. Knight basically throws out the rules and makes it a no DQ matchup, I guess, or relaxed rules for this matchup. The Vision isolated Jimmy for a while. Jimmy went for the hot tag, but Reed got one first, and Breaker stormed across the ring to take out both Usos. We get Reed got Jimmy up on his shoulders, and then Breaker completed the bulldog off the top rope, the Steinerizer, or the Steiner bulldog. Breaker went for the pin and argued with Knight when it was only a 2 count. Reed tagged in, but when no one was looking, Jimmy set up a chair in between the ropes and lured Reed to go face first. Jay reappeared on the apron and finally got the hot tag. Breaker ran in, and Jay started punching him into the corner. He hit a crossbody on Breaker, but only got a 2 count. Jimmy pulled the table from under the ring and sent it into the ring with his brother. Reed set up the table in the corner with an assist from Knight, the referee. Jay staggered up, and Breaker went for a spear, but Jay was able to catch him with a super kick. Jimmy hit one on Reed. The Usos then went for a 1D, but Reed broke up the pin at 2. You then get Reed put Jay up on the top turnbuckle. Jay fought off. Breaker ran up for a Frankensteiner and hits it, the Frankensteiner, and then Reed hits Jay with a moonsault. Jimmy got involved and ate a spear from Breaker. Jay then speared Breaker and went up top for the Uso splash. He hits it, but Breaker kicks out at 2. Knight and Reed began arguing at ringside, allowing Jay to hit a super kick and a dive through the ropes. Knight questioned if Jay was actually aiming for him due to their issues over the last couple of weeks on Monday Night Raw. Heyman then threw a chair to Breaker to try sneak a shot in on Jay. Jay intercepted and went to hit Breaker, but Breaker ducked, and Jay almost hit Knight instead. He then threw the chair at Reed. He blasts Breaker on the back, but the chair bounces off of Breaker's back and nails Jay right in the head, busting him open. And it looked like he had a concussion as well, honestly, because he was droozy and a little bit off and staggering at times towards the end of this matchup here. You get Breaker. He comes in. He hits a spear on Jay. He comes across the ring. Then he's covered in Jay's blood just from that spear alone. Then we get Breaker, who spears both Usos into the table that was set up in the corner. He then sets up Jay against the corner so Bronson Reed can complete things and hit the tsunami for the 1-2-3 on Jay Uso. So Bronson Reed getting yet another win in tag team competition, this time pinning a former world heavyweight champion as the Vision pick up their biggest win yet as a team, beating one of the greatest tag teams in WWE history, the Usos here. This was a fun match. They kept it, nice and light. It was a fun brawl with the chairs and the tables involved. LA Knight, it felt like absolutely no reason outside of just, let's put LA Knight here to continue the story with Jay, quote unquote, but not really continue the story because there was nothing for him to really do here. it would have been easier just to have it be a no DQ match beforehand than do the weird stuff with him just saying, fuck the ruse during the matchup. But otherwise, fun stuff. I just hope that Jay is all right because he did not look right. And the ending was a little bit of a mess because of the Jay incident with getting busted open and probably suffering concussion as a result. Otherwise, like I said, fun time. So I give it 3.5 stars. The opener, I give a dud. But Robert, what did you think about Usos versus Vision?
I think dud is very appropriate for that first match, first of all. And this was fun. Tag teams like the Bronze don't come around a lot anymore. And it's almost unfortunate that they're two singles guys that are destined for much more, because this just as a team permanently, I think it would be magic, just because those boys can go and they're about as good as you can get. I thought it was fun. I think adding LA Knight for me was a hat on a hat. I don't like the storyline going on Raw. Like, it's fine. It feels like we're trying to shoehorn Knight into an important story because he's a top guy rather than he needs to be there. I think, for example, I don't even think he'll play into the next beat. I think the next thing will probably be Perth 3-on-3, Rollins and those boys against Roman and the Usos. But
no, because they already said Rollins is in the main.
That's right. Rollins is fighting Cody. So maybe the Vision gets a third. But I know Roman's on that poster, and that means he's probably teaming with the Usos. I thought it was a really fun match, though. It's good to see the Usos together. I kind of want them to just stay as a tag team for a little bit. We got Motor City Machine Guns. We got the Lucha Brothers, who are probably, given recent events, bound to come together. I think the Usos as a tag team is where the money's at right now. You can still do the yeet. You can still get your merch money. But I think on TV, a tag team is the way to go. And I'd seriously consider strapping the Bronze with the tag titles just for fun. Because they're really, really good. I enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, the Judgment Day, they're not doing anything with the tag team titles. So why
but they
not
run Monday Night Raw.
The
You see the problem here?
They just holding the tag team titles, so Dom isn't the only one with all the belts. But I think to get to the next part of that story, you need the Finn and JD to lose the tag team title. So Dom is the only one with belts. So he feels like, why do I need the rest of y'all? Basically. But I would put the titles on the Vision because you need to have that perception that they are in control of all of Monday Night Raw. And the only way to do that really is to have everybody holding the titles.
I agree.
So we shall see. I hope that Jay's all right. They did say that Wrestling Observer reported that he looked banged up, but he did say, "Yeah, I'm good" on social media. But that picture didn't look like he was good.
I think these kinds of incidents happen. They're second generation from guys that are real tough. So they're not about to milk this. I imagine Jay's going to do what he can to be back as soon as possible.
We got Power Jerk Finisher who says best wishes to Jay, but goddamn, WWE top star can't swing a fucking chair. What the fuck? This is typical WWE shit. You see AEW's self-gory mutilation is intentional. WWE can't even be safe about hardcore shit.
I mean, like, accidents do happen.
I wouldn't say that much. Like, it was just an accident.
Yeah, you swing a chair with some force, things are gonna come back at you. It might happen. And like I said, I hope he's okay, but I imagine he'll be back real quick, if not back almost immediately.
Yeah. So yeah, fun stuff there, but it had its issues as well. But let's talk about the next matchup. I will say, what did you think? Overall thoughts on like the commercials and stuff? Because I know certain people had different stuff. I know you watched it on Netflix. I did as well using my VPN. But I know there's people that watch it on ESPN, and they're not even getting, some people are not even getting commercials. They're just getting a screen with the poster for the show that says commercial break. We'll be right back.
Unbelievable. That's kind of what I got on Netflix, and it's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, there was a legit break that was like a good 7 to 10 minutes, it felt like, and you're just like, what are we? By the way, I didn't get into this. The Usos had like a 20-minute entrance. They had like a 20. Like, I told you this earlier because I watched it back for this review, and I'm like skipping 20-minute chunks at a time, and the bell's still not ringing on some of these early matches. Like, what are we doing? It's too much. Glad the place is having fun. Glad the kids are yeeting. Glad, Jay is making that connection that guys like Cena and Rock and Hogan make with kids. But man, it's obnoxious. Like, you can do this. Brett got to the ring in like two minutes, put the glasses on the kid's head, and we were off to the races. You can do this. Short, like what is happening? I don't know when every babyface had to get an Undertaker length entrance, but like it's really getting obnoxious.
It's a bit much. But let's talk about WWE Women's World Championship up for grabs heading into this show. This was the matchup that many believed would steal the show, and look at that, it did. It was Stephanie Vaquer going up against Io Sky. These two women have clashed twice before earlier this year, with neither match coming to a decisive conclusion. The two locked up off the top, with Vaquer sending Sky to the mat. The two chain wrestled for a bit, with Vaquer ending up getting Sky in a waistlock. Sky fought out of it, and the two ran the ropes for a second before flipping in a few pinning combinations, with the crowd cheering the technical showcase. Vaquer hit a backdrop, but Sky was able to avoid the Devil's Kiss, which got plenty of heat from this crowd. Sky hit a chop block and then a drop kick to send Vaquer to the ropes, then stomped her and hoisted her up for a scoop slam. Sky then dropped double knees on Vaquer and rolled her over for a knee lock. Vaquer kicked her way out of it and wrangled Sky into a tarantula around the ropes. Sky emerged clutching her arm, but Vaquer hit a running leg drop. She then hit a big suplex and then followed up with another. She put Sky in a modified surfboard, but Sky was able to slide back and turn it into a lock of her own. After an exchange, Sky hit a stalling backbreaker on Vaquer, and both women collapsed. Sky got back to her feet first, as the crowd was really into this matchup at this point. She hits a missile dropkick from the top rope. The crowd was into it even further from there, as Sky hits a tope suicida on Vaquer on the outside. They staggered to their feet by the light of the Old Spice sign, and then Io tossed Vaquer back into the ring to avoid a double count out. Sky tried a sunset flip powerbomb, but Vaquer had it scouted and sent Sky off the apron with a double knee. Vaquer dove on her and then threw her back into the ring and hits a springboard crossbody. Vaquer picked up the speed a bit, snapped suplex to Io, and then she charged, but Sky caught her and hit a suplex of her own. Vaquer got back up and suplexed Sky in retaliation. They then had a striking exchange, traded punches and chops and headbutts. Vaquer went to the suplex well, but the crowd was on their feet. Vaquer took too much time to get the Devil's Kiss in, and Sky managed to knock her down into a crossface, as the crowd once again were booing the lack of Devil's Kisses in this matchup. Vaquer flipped out of the crossface attempt and then right into a knee from Sky. Sky then went to the top rope, but Vaquer caught her, traps her in the rope, and then yanks her leg through the ropes into a dragon screw leg whip, which was really the turning point of this matchup. Sky recovered and kicked Vaquer right square in the temple. Io started punching her leg to keep it going, and then pulled Sky into position for an over the moonsault, but Vaquer was able to get her feet up, Sky bouncing across the ring. Vaquer then set her up and hits a second dragon screw, and Io is in absolute pain at this point. Vaquer dragged Io to the center of the ring, locked her into the devil's kiss, bounced her head over and over into the canvas. She hit her signature bomb and then hit the SVP. Gets the 1, 2, but Io is able to kick out at 2.99. Vaquer went up to the top rope, but Io was able to stop her. They battle on the top rope for a bit. Sky set up Vaquer with hits a Spanish fly, but seemed to knock her own knee in the process, which she was selling. Sky went for the cover, but Vaquer kicks out at 2. Digging deep, Io exposed her knee for the bullet train attack in the corner. She hits the running knees right to Vaquer's head, dragged her in position for the over the moonsault. Sky leaped, but Vaquer rolled out of the way. Vaquer went to the top rope and hits her spiral tap, gets the cover. 1, 2, 3. Stephanie Vaquer is your new WWE Women's World Champion. This was an absolutely spectacular 20-minute epic. These two ladies went balls to the wall, brought all the action, all the storytelling, all the beats that you want. Really gave us the Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky matchup that we originally expected when they first teased the matchup with their first encounter on the Raw after WrestleMania, and really just delivered it. This was not only one of the best WWE matches of the year, this is one of the best women's matches in WWE history to me. They just went out there. This is like PWG AEW style. This is the only match on this show that would not look out of place on an AEW all-out card. These two women delivered an epic. I gave it 4 3/4 stars. Rob, what did you think?
This was not only was this the match of the night, this was an easy lock for match of the year. Congratulations to Io, who is the WWE Performer of the Year. She has delivered every single time out. She is the MVP of the women's division, if not the entire company right now. She's connecting with the fans on a new level. Stephanie delivered in a way that I think she's been dying to do since leaving NXT. I love Naomi, but I don't know. First of all, I don't even know if she would have beaten Naomi because Naomi had just gotten the belt. Second, I think this was probably a much better match than that would have been. And they just got to showcase great wrestling and modern stars on the best possible show for them because they really stood out and put on a clinic. This was a fantastic match.
Yeah, they blew me away here. They like you said, Io Sky, man. This is one of the greatest years in the ring of any WWE wrestler, and usually I would say of any WWE women's wrestler. And this is like far beyond any type of. I think like the only person that comes close to the in-ring output that Io has delivered in this calendar year for WWE. You have to go back to probably like Sasha Banks in NXT in 2015. Like that's like the last time that anyone's come remotely close, but Io is even on a higher level than that because of the quality of like these three. She never has a bad matchup, but it's the 3 matches. It's the WrestleMania 3-way, it's the Rhea match at Revolution, and at Evolution, and then it's this. These are the 3 matches that are going to define how you remember her 2025.
And I think those will be the 3 matches that keep her in that spot for years to come. If somebody goes down, if the main person that we had the title aspirations for goes down, where's Io? Because Io can carry the ball and run with it. And I can't wait to see where they go with Steph. Love me some Rhea Ripley, but it was a breath of fresh air not seeing her on this card. Now they can build to that. I think that'll be an important one. Maybe that is to say, even if we don't get Stephanie facing Rhea beforehand, so Rhea can walk into Perth with the women's world title.
Yeah, because they have been teasing that on Monday Night Raw. Rhea saying that she's coming after the winner of Io versus Vaquer, so you could easily set that up as a TV matchup, which would feel like blowing your load a little early to me, honestly, because
I would agree.
Rhea Ripley versus Stephanie Vaquer, you at minimum you better put it on a Wrestlepalooza. Like if you're not gonna put it at a
Palooza,
SummerSlam or
a
Royal
Royal
Rumble
Rumble
or
match, maybe.
WrestleMania, you better put it on a Palooza.
Yeah. I mean, unless they're just like, God, we need something for them to tune into Raw for. Because I can understand that point. Because, Raw is in rough shape too. But I would think that you can get away with Stephanie holding this title for a while. Put Io and Rhea up against Kairi and Asuka in Perth. And I think that's good enough. Put Stephanie against Tiffany or whomever. And I think that's the way to go.
So do you think it's going to be Vaquer versus Tiffany? Because there's a chance that it could be Vaquer versus Nia Jax or Vaquer versus Jade Cargill coming off the heels of Friday night on SmackDown.
There definitely is. I would say from a personal wish, from a match perspective, I think the most entertaining match would be Tiffany. So that's the one I'd like to see.
Most definitely. There's like no question. That's the match I want to see for sure.
Because the Nia Jax match takes it to a whole other level, and the Jade match then becomes more of a spectacle. I'd rather see Tiffany and Stephanie have just a fun match.
I agree with you 100% there. We got a few more comments to highlight here in the chat. Keep it coming with those chats. Keep it coming with those super chat donations. Christopher says he's going to give the match a 4. He said it's had a lack of Bailey. A lack of Bailey is why he's saying 4 stars. He's a big Bailey fan. So
look, Bailey, I'm interested to see where she goes next. I think she's got a lot of fun stuff to do on the roster right now. That's the exciting thing, is this roster feels fresh. You got to assume AJ's back for good. Not for good, but relatively part-timer. I think Bailey's got a lot of fun stuff she can do. I think Asuka and Kairi have a lot of fun stuff to do. I'm excited for the Raw Women's Division probably more than anything else on that show.
Same. That's what keeps me coming back. Like I was saying for weeks, like until maybe 2-3 weeks ago when AJ Lee came back, I was like, Monday Night Raw had one good story, and it was the Asuka and Io stuff that's been going on relatively basically backstage. But then they've added the AJ Lee story that's been a good build to this show. And then they also added the Jey Uso and LA Knight stuff, which has also been very intriguing and been these show long narratives for the show. So they have more stories that I'm interested in. And I think there's potential for the Bailey story to be something else to get people's interest in on Monday Night Raw. But it just seems like, I agree with you with Monday Night Raw not being in the best shape. It just seems like they haven't found their direction. What direction they're going in right now on Raw.
Because I think they're just coasting until we get to January so they can go, aren't you excited for WrestleMania season? Because that's all they do. They're going to get through War Games, and then it's going to be just hold on tight for the Royal Rumble.
Hold on tight. We're almost at the Rumble, guys. We're almost at the Rumble. This is what we do. Annika says, I wouldn't say all that, but yeah, Io is that chick. Io, man, Io is my WWE Wrestler of the Year. If anyone's gonna get Wrestler of the Year for me, it's Io.
By far, if you're just talking WWE, I think it's Io. And to be honest, I have a hard time finding a main roster male counterpart who's putting up that level of consistency, because even Cody took a back step this year. Even Rollins
I would say the best one is Gunther.
Yeah, and even he's taken a significant decrease from where he was. I honestly, of the major main roster guys, Punk has probably been the most consistent, and that's I don't know what that says right now. And that's me as a major CM Punk fan, but Punk in 2025 isn't Punk in 2011
or even 2021. But yes,
that's probably where it peaked. But
let's talk about the big match that everybody was tuning into this show for, Robert. And that was the biggest mixed tag team matchup since Ronda Rousey's debut AJ Lee making her return to WWE, her first match in a decade, teaming with her husband CM Punk to verse World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins and WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch. Rollins and Punk, of course, have been trying to kill each other for years now, but they've never gotten their wives involved until now. The exciting part is that AJ makes her return here. It should be mentioned that Lynch and Rollins went 3-0 in 2019 in mixed tag team matches. Would the streak continue? They got a big elaborate entrance coming down from a platform that was 40 feet in the air, and then it lowered from the circle of fireworks, and they stomped off matching suits with gigantic shoulders and lapels. It was by definition very extra and very Seth and Becky. CM Punk, he arrived with an AJ's husband jacket and announced that it was clobbering time, with AJ getting a massive ovation before skipping down to the ring. Lee wanted to start the match, but Lynch waved her off, and Rollins and Punk were facing off first. Then Lynch decided that she wanted to tag in and started shoving and slapping CM Punk. The crowd chanted for a GTS, but instead they got AJ Lee, and the match actually started. Lynch bailed from the ring, and Lee chased her around until she popped back in and tagged in Rollins. Rollins and Lynch started making out as CM Punk hit both with a tope suicida. He then threw Rollins into the barricade and leapt off, fighting him in the crowd. This is like the opening 5 minutes of the matchup, and I was like, oh, they're going to go long. They just draw that out, where they only did one move in 5 minutes. Rollins ran back to the ring, and Punk went for a headlock. Rollins sent him into the corner, and Lynch reached over and choked him behind the referee's back. It was all Rollins and Lynch early on, just keeping CM Punk occupied to stop him from getting the hot tag to Lee. So Lee had to face off with Becky. Lee ran around to help, but Rollins got in her way. Rollins grabbed Punk and laid him out on the announce table, punching him. He then tossed him back into the ring and hit a double axe handle from the top rope. Punk tried to stand, but Rollins stomped his hands and then delivered some chops and kicked him in the face. Rollins went over and kissed Becky, but apparently that didn't count as a tag. He then threw Punk onto the ropes and hit a big knee to the back of the head. Punk reached for AJ, but Rollins wouldn't let it happen. Punk threw some punches, but Rollins held him back. Lee bounced on the ropes as Rollins whipped Punk back into the corner. Punk tried to crawl to the tag, but Rollins intercepted and tried for a suplex. Punk blocked it and tried for one of his own, but Rollins blocked. They went back and forth for a bit until Punk executed a suplex and crawled over to get the hot tag, but Rollins cut him off again. He then threw Becky. He lifts her up in the air in a gorilla press and then throws her onto Punk, but Punk rolls out the way and Rollins dropped her right on the mat like an idiot. Rollins charged Punk, who sent him out. And then just before he could get the tag, Lynch pulled Lee off the apron. In the ring, Rollins hits a Falcon Arrow for a near fall. Rollins then starts mocking AJ Lee and skipping around until he walks right into Punk, delivering a GTS, knocking Rollins out cold. Punk went for the tag to AJ. Lynch was basically trying to wake up Seth after the GTS, then tries to grab Punk's foot. Punk just hops over with Becky holding his foot and blows a kiss to Becky before making the tag to AJ. AJ comes in. She has a Luthez press, rained down some punches onto Becky. So she threw Becky to the corner and then stomped her and then delivered a splash in the corner. Lee climbed the turnbuckles and punched Becky exactly 10 times, laying her out with a spin kick after. Lee went to the top rope for a crossbody, but got a 2 count. Becky just kicking out. Lee pulled Becky up to her feet, and then the two started trading slaps. Lee then punched Seth right in the face when he rolled into the ring, and then hit Becky with the DDT, launching off of Seth. Becky and Seth were down, so Lee and Punk started working together and did a double team, which was kind of crazy, with like a sure and away into a moonsault at the same time. Lee went for the Black Widow, but Lynch was able to throw her off. Lee tried for it again and managed to lock it on. Rollins tried to save his wife, but Punk grabbed him and locked him into a sharpshooter. Rollins would try to kick his way free out of it, and Lee was able to the couple, Becky and Seth, were able to get themselves free from it. Eventually, we get Lee, who traps Seth in the Black Widow submission, which was a cool visual. Lee has to break that up. She and Rollins, they work together and they hit double pedigrees at this point. Rollins and Lynch made motion that they were going for dual GTSs, but Punk sent Rollins to the outside. Lee took advantage and hit Becky with the Bexploder. Rollins grabbed her ankle and dropped Lee in the ring. Then Punk hits a curb stomp on Rollins. We get some more double team action. All four competitors in the ring. Punk and AJ start working together. They hit double team Bulldog. Then they look like they're going for the GTS. Then we get a whole exchange with Punk and Becky, where Becky and Punk exchange sharpshooters. We get Becky first. She gets the sharpshooter on Punk. Then Punk is able to reverse it, and he puts Becky in the sharpshooter, which didn't get as lot of a reaction as I thought it would based on the buildup, mainly because I think the crowd didn't know how to react to Punk putting his hand on a woman. Then we get some more double team from AJ and Punk. They hit double team Sharon Uwe, or the Shining Wizard. We get Punk laid out by Rollins. And then we get AJ coming in. She delivers the stomp to Rollins as he had a pinfall on Punk. Then we get Becky laying out AJ with a manhandle slam. They all fight to the announce table after we get a whole big brawl in the ring, where first it's Punk and Seth. They start brawling. They're pulled away by their wives. Their wife says, "We got it." And they start brawling. And then the husband pulled them away. And then all four start brawling. Then we get a whole big spot where they're on the announce table, and Becky tosses AJ into Punk and Seth, which breaks the table and absolute carnage from there. Rollins and Lynch woke up and reversed it, though. We get a whole big exchange there. And then finally, it's Lee and Becky in the ring. Lee is able to trap her in the Black Widow submission, and Becky has no choice but to tap out, giving AJ and Punk the victory here. 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Woo.
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes. I mean, I expected this to get a lot of time, because this was the biggest built matchup heading in. I also expected this to be the main event. I did not get that, and I did not expect them to go 30 minutes. Do I think they should have gone 30 minutes? Absolutely not. I think that this would have been a much better 20-minute matchup, but there's no denying this was a bunch of fun. All these big stars, all these big characters. I think that Becky Lynch put on an awesome performance. She's been the MVP of the build-up. She was the MVP in this matchup, made AJ Lee look good. AJ had some expected ring rust. Her punches did not look the greatest, especially those windmill punches she was getting to Seth and Becky. It didn't look the best. It didn't look the best. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
But this is kind of where I think there was like this weird failure to temper expectations.
Yes.
AJ Lee.
That's true. That is true.
Right around the time that AJ Lee starts windmilling strikes at Becky Lynch, you go, oh, that's right. AJ Lee was a top star in the Divas era. And I need to explain, because I think
I knew that by the comeback. When she gets the hot tag and she starts making a comeback, I'm like, oh, this is very much 2010's Divas comeback.
I think people, because I think a lot of it gets lumped in together in the mind. Like, AJ Lee's era of the Divas era was probably the tail end of the really, we're not doing much. Like, I need people to understand, when AJ Lee and Caitlyn had a 7-minute match at Payback in 2013, we fans at the time were like, oh my God, they allowed the women to have an actual wrestling match. As evident by the runtime of this match, if you put the women in the ring for 7 minutes right now, that's considered a huge shocker for a different reason entirely. I still think she did the best she could. I still think it was a very fun match. This was pure vibes. This was pure like it. It legitimately felt like a couple's game night where okay, it's a little clunky, it's a little all over the place, but everybody's having fun and the couples are enjoying themselves. And I think this is probably a fun match for everybody involved for all the right reasons. And I'm happy that they were able to have it. Do I think AJ Lee should beat Becky Lynch for the IC title? Only yes, only because I think that AJ Roxanne feud means a little more if there's a title involved. You could do the It's My Idol feud, but I like stakes beyond that.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. I think they might save that match though. I don't see how you put that on any of these other shows unless you're doing it right now at Crown Jewel. Unless you're going right to it now, I don't think you need that matchup on a Survivor Series card where the main draws are War Games. I don't think you need that on a Saturday Night's main event card where the real draw is Cena. I can see that at a Royal Rumble. That feels like a big enough matchup for the undercard of a Royal Rumble. But that seems like a match that they will drag out and they will try to get to me. AJ versus
I don't know
Becky
because do you really drag out AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for another 3 months? I would try to get it in the ring as soon as possible. And because again, you're tempering expectations. I think if people feel like they have to wait for another AJ Lee match, especially one we just kind of saw, I think the payoff becomes less and less. And it would be to their best interest to try to maximize and strike while the iron is hot because people will get bored with it quickly if they keep dragging it out.
Yeah, most certainly, and I think that this whole insertion of Becky and AJ has extended the Seth and Punk feud greatly, which I was already getting tired of before they were inserted, but this actually extended them where I could see them getting like one more month before a blow off, but we're not going to get that because it's Crown Jewel, and we got to do our champion versus champion bullshit for the Saudi title match.
Which is fun. It's not, but it's not. It's the Australian title this year. So I don't know what that means for the Saudis.
How are the Saudis supposed to get into Australia now?
Wait, but isn't the title like in a vault or in a museum somewhere in Saudi, like on display? I wonder if that means they're going to create a new Crown Jewel title that can be on display in Perth. You know,
could be possible. That's the next move. See, you just gave it away.
Yeah, got to maximize profits. You can't be thinking about families. We're maximizing profits in the year of our Lord 2025.
I think also because it felt like like you said, a couple's game night felt very house show like. It didn't feel like this was a premium live event match. It felt like a house show matchup to me. I gave the match 3 3/4 stars, so probably the second best matchup on the show by like a country mile, but
which is saying something in and of itself.
It's saying something.
I liked it a lot. I thought they had fun, and it's one of the ones I think this was genuinely for the fans. You know, this is just a fan-friendly, let's all have fun kind of wrestling match, and I'm okay with that. I want a little more of that on my WWE shows.
Yeah, it makes some sense. I do agree with Annika here, who says 30 minutes is crazy for AJ Lee returning. AJ Lee, who never did a match over like 15 minutes, gets
I think I would dare say 15 is probably a threshold that I wonder if she even crossed. You know, so
I do wonder if she even was able to cross that during her time, and I think I'm being generous by even saying that.
Like, and kudos to her because I think she did as good as can possibly be expected.
Yeah, this was definitely a good effort by her, considering she's been gone from the ring for the better part of a decade. Like 2015, her last matchup I don't know why that showed up. The last matchup was in 2015, the Raw after WrestleMania 31, and the fact that she went out here after a decade and put on that type of performance, 30 minutes against three of the biggest stars in the company, that says a lot for where they view her on this second run here.
I mean, I'm looking through Cage Match right now, and I must say that I'm surprised that the last match she had exceeded 13 minutes. I don't know if anything that happened beforehand even gets double digits. So that says a lot. And again,
that says a lot.
Because of that, and you got to think she's going through tables. She's like mixing it up with Seth. I think she held her own very well, and I think if she gets more time, she could end up having some really fun matches. And I don't know where they go from here, though. Because, okay, obviously AJ's going to challenge Becky. But does this mean, when Rollins is done with Cody, does he go back to Punk? I think they're going to skate on, well, he's got Crown Jewel, which means he's got a Cody match. And then we got War Games. And I think they're going to try to get away from having him defend the title one-on-one until maybe
are they gonna be maniacs and try to get Punk and Seth to Mania? That's what that sounded like to me. That they're gonna be maniacs and they're gonna try to get it to Mania.
I think the smartest thing to do would be have Punk win the Rumble and then go over to face Cody or whomever that is, and say that literally I have to get away from Seth. It's so toxic. I just need to get away. And leave the door open for, maybe Roman to challenge Seth or Sami Zayn or somebody like that, because I can't see them getting to Mania with this. Not just them one-on-one, and you can't do another three-way with Roman because it's literally just a repeat from this year.
Yeah, but I can see them. This company in this year especially. Yeah, I can see it happen. I can see this happening. I see their game. I see where they're going here. They're gonna get Punk and Seth to Mania, unfortunately, because they already started.
That would be crazy.
They already started technically building towards Mania weekend, because up next we got The Undertaker. The Undertaker comes out before our main event. He gets the big grand entrance, but he stops short of going around the ringside area, and he stops to talk to Stephanie McMahon, talking about they've known each other for a very long time. Then we get some awkward small talk, and then he says, well, you want to know something? Well, I was told to come out here and talk to you about doing something, and we want to tell you that you are the first inductee of the 2026 WWE Hall of Fame. Nice sweet moment with Taker and Stephanie hugging and embracing. Stephanie seemed emotional finding out this news, so nice little moment for fans of Stephanie McMahon. I am not one of them, and I am not a fan of The Undertaker past the year that he was supposed to retire, so this was a whole big waste of time for me. What did you think?
We first of all, we could go down a rabbit hole asking, what year did you think he was supposed to retire? Because that is a wide-ranging list of years. This was weird. This was very strange. I think it would have been one thing if they weirdly kept foreshadowing it. Like, he comes out and they're just zoomed in on Steph and they're zoomed in on Taker. And then, so that was strange. I don't know why they needed this announcement in September.
They needed it because they are selling, the tickets go on sale this week.
Oh, okay. But even then, like...
yeah, even then, it's not that good of an excuse.
I like Steph, but is this going to be like, oh man, be there when Stephanie McMahon gets inducted in? I think if you would have said, hey, John, you're finishing up this year, guess where you're going next year? I think you get some ticket sales. Yeah.
Yes.
there
So you
might
get
be
much
people,
more ticket sales with that than Stephanie. I'm sorry.
and there might be people who are like, yeah, I got to be there when Stephanie gets inducted. I know Naomi was very happy and said, yeah, even if I need to have the baby at the Hall of Fame ceremony, I will be there for Stephanie, which is a very nice thing to say. This is cool. Like she clearly loves the industry. It's hard to celebrate this as anything other than like a nepo baby being inducted, because that's what this is. And like your husband is the one in charge of the show now. It's very strange in that regard, but as a performer, she deserves to be in there. You're not going to get me to say otherwise. I mean, Drew Carey's in the Hall of Fame for a Royal Rumble appearance, so it is what it is. But they could have probably shaved some time off the pay-per-view by not doing this. You're muted.
This whole new StreamYard bugs me out. But yes, I tend to agree. Like, yeah, I don't know if you needed this on this show necessarily, but I guess because you wanted to sell some more tickets when tickets actually go on sale for the Hall of Fame, it's a reason, not a good reason, but it is a reason. So,
I mean,
let's go
because real quick, like, does anybody associate Stephanie with any like major creative thing? Like, are there kids out there who buy into the idea that she was the one who created women's wrestling? Like,
I'm sure there is someone who believes that. I'm sure.
And again, I like Steph. I had fun watching her as a character. I think she definitely deserves the spot. It's just strange to me that it's like, yep, you're the nod, and we're gonna tell people super early because you're the one that we think will drive tickets. I don't foresee that.
We got Dion who says she ain't headlining, but she deserves to go in.
Yeah, that's about the way
I could see her headlining.
I really honestly think it's John.
Cena. Yeah,
I think
that makes the most sense. It just does.
There's the inevitable Rock at some point. He needs to go in. You know,
Brock is another one.
Brock is another one. Brock going in. I don't know if Brock would want to be the headliner because I don't think he wants to talk. I think he'll just want to be like, hey, thank you. I kicked ass. Goodbye.
Farewell, guys. But yeah, that's what we're doing. This shit was all weird. It was very awkward. It felt very like last minute put together, and Taker didn't know what to say.
Yeah, and I've never seen a guy lose all of his aura as quickly as the Undertaker didn't say shit for like 25 years outside of, a few interviews here and there. And then, boy, we can't get this guy to stop talking. Like,
can't get him to shut the fuck up.
You can't get him to shut the fuck up. And it's he is of a certain age, but it's the boomer takes of it all too. It's those, and they're generic boomer takes. And it's just like, you can't get this guy to stop. And that's kind of how I feel with The Undertaker right now. But, kudos to Steph. I definitely think she deserves it.
Yeah, definitely deserve it as a character, as what she contributed backstage. So definitely congratulations to Stephanie. I just didn't need it on this show. Because what I had to wait for was the main event. Undisputed WWE Championship up for grabs. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes defends against the Scottish Warrior Drew McIntyre. Cody comes out wearing big coat. McIntyre occasionally he wears a big coat. He wore one. Oh no, he wore a nice like jacket. And these two men went at it. McIntyre started off the matchup by approaching Rhodes and opening his arms as if asking for a hug. Rhodes didn't go for it, though, and the two started fighting, with McIntyre getting Rhodes in the ropes and landing a headlock. They traded blows, with Rhodes landing a bionic elbow and then bringing McIntyre to his knees. Rhodes went for a Cody cutter, but stalled and seemed to fall over, indicating that he's not 100% after the attack on SmackDown and that he may have a concussion, but WWE won't say the word concussion, so we're just having to assume that. We put a waistlock on McIntyre to fight out of it, and then McIntyre arm dragged Rhodes. Rhodes lands a disaster kick on McIntyre, sending him to the outside. Rhodes then went for a tope suicida, but McIntyre caught him in the ropes and then throws him into the ring post, throwing him over the announce table as well. He put Rhodes back into the ring and he stumbled again, allowing McIntyre to get a couple of belly-to-belly throws in. McIntyre charged and Rhodes moved, sending him into the ring post. McIntyre lured Rhodes out of the ring and then hit an Alabama slam onto the steel steps. He sent Rhodes back into the ring only to get a 2 count. Rhodes covered up as McIntyre stomped and kicked at him. Rhodes followed up. He caught him on the top rope and gets a superplex. Both slowly get to their feet and start trading punches. Rhodes lands a power slam and then a disaster kick. He landed a Cody cutter, but he looked too dazed to follow up. He sets up McIntyre for a crossroads, but McIntyre is able to get out of it, landing a Glasgow kiss. He then grabbed Rhodes on the top turnbuckle and hits a white noise for a 2 count. Goes for the Claymore, but Rhodes is able to stack him up for a 2 count of his own. Rhodes is able to get McIntyre on his back on the mat and then locks him into the figure 4. He was able to throw him off, though, while the referee checked on Rhodes. McIntyre pulled the turnbuckle pad off. McIntyre stacked up Rhodes, but the referee was out of position and couldn't count the 1, 2, 3 in time. The first instance of this in the matchup. Rhodes took advantage of the situation and hits a crossroads, but McIntyre is able to kick out at 2. McIntyre then lands the Claymore kick, but Rhodes is able to kick out at 2.99. On the outside, McIntyre set Rhodes up against the announce table. He tries to go for the same big boot that he landed on SmackDown a couple of weeks back. He looks like he's got Rhodes dead to rights, but Rhodes rolls out of the way, and McIntyre blows his knee out on the announce table, screaming in pain. He went back and hits a Glasgow kiss to create some space in the ring. He tries to go for the Claymore, but his knee buckles. This allows Cody to hit the super Cody cutter and then follow up with a picture-perfect crossroads. 1, 2, 3. Cody Rhodes retains the WWE Championship in the main event of Wrestlepalooza here, vanquishing McIntyre. This was fine.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't rave about it. It just happened. They did the whole thing where the referee stops McIntyre from winning. It was a fine matchup. Cody won. The crowd went home happy, but they sounded very quiet during large portions of this matchup, and they were pretty flat for the finish of the matchup when the babyface won. So that says a lot to me. I gave the match 3.25 stars, but I was quite disappointed, and this was obviously the wrong choice to headline the show.
Yeah, this is the part where I fell for it, because when it was announced that Cody was closing, I kind of expected The Rock. I kind of thought, oh, Rock's not going to let the ESPN show go on without him, and that will be a way to, because he did it last year. Remember, he just showed up to be like, 1, 2, 3, and you never really knew what that meant. But that's a whole nother issue. This was fine. This was, honestly, I like both guys. It just didn't feel like it was an important show. It didn't feel like an important match to close out a pretty big show, or at least what was pitched as a big show.
Yeah, I was quite disappointed for it, and it felt like the crowd was as well, because the crowd was really good throughout the whole night. They were into the stuff. Even the stuff that I wasn't quite into, the crowd made it better by being into everything. They didn't seem like they were into this matchup. They seemed like they were into this matchup less than everything else on the night.
I think because say what you want, there's no jeopardy. If you're going to do title matches, you should always make it seem like it's possible the champion could lose. Because then you got guys like me who want to go, well, let's try to explore the possibility of Drew winning, and people just shut it down because it's so obvious Drew isn't winning. I think that's what you need to change.
Yeah. It is quite clear there, and it was announced what we're going to see at next month's ESPN PLE Crown Jewel from Perth, Australia. Cody showed up on the post show, and he was soon interrupted by World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins. It was announced during Wrestlepalooza that there will be the Crown Jewel Championship matchup between the World Champion and WWE Champions for the men's and women's respectively at Crown Jewel on October 11th. And the first match has been made official: Cody Rhodes versus Seth freaking Rollins to crown the second men's Crown Jewel champion.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Cody won, but I also think it'll just be a nice shiny belt for Seth to wear with a bunch of crazy outfits. That'll be fun. I'm sure people will complain and say, we saw it 100 times. We didn't see it as much as you think. I think it'll be a good match. I just hate this time of the year for WWE because they always enter this like, we don't care lull. They're just trying to get to, Mania season. And I think we started seeing the seeds of that because it doesn't feel like there's any major direction for Cody. I'm going to guess they'll start to tease Randy, and Randy will be Mania. Not Mania, Royal Rumble, and then Royal Rumble winner will be Mania for Cody.
Yeah, I would have done something if you want to go in the direction Dion's talking about here. He says Cody should have lost, especially with him selling the head injury. Do we need another long Cody reign right now? Drew needs it more. They're just wasting this guy's potential. If they didn't have Crown Jewel planned, because Crown Jewel, it does make sense for Cody to be the champion against Seth. But if they're not running Crown Jewel, then this is the show that you do a surprise title change. You do the surprise title chain. You base it on the head injury. You have The Rock get involved and help Drew to connect them. All the stuff that we've seen from them on social media and outside of the ring, you connect them on television by having The Rock help him win the title. Or you have Randy Orton accidentally help Drew win the title, and that starts the story between Cody and Randy. There was just nothing here. This was like a Saturday. This felt like ending the show with this made it just feel like a Saturday night's main event.
Yep, I agree. It's unfortunate, really, because they wanted to make it feel like it was Mania, and you did nothing. You put in zero effort to make it seem like you actually wanted it to be that level of show.
Yeah. But we've made it to the end of Wrestlepalooza. Thank you so much in the chat for the super chat donations. Final call for that, as well as let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comment section as well your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP, your moment of the night. Whether you gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give Saturday's show? For me and Robert, for WWE Wrestlepalooza, in 3, 2, 1. Going mid. Okay, we're both going mid.
We're the bar right now.
Yeah, we're the bar right now. Thumbs in the middle from both of us. Out of 10, what did you give the show, Rob?
It's the epitome of a 5. Honestly, it's funny because they gave it a C. It's the epitome of this was an average show. If you were excited about Lesnar, I think you got the best that Lesnar could give you at this stage in the game. If you're excited about Punk and AJ, they gave you the best of what they had. It's just, it kind of fell a little flat.
Yeah, I went 6 out of 10 for this show. Thumbs in the middle for me. Our community tab, for True Hill Heat for WWE Wrestlepalooza 2025. Our community tab gave, we have 40% gave it a 5 through 6. 37% gave it a 1 through 4. And 20% gave it a 7 through 8. With 3%, only one person giving it a 9 out of 10.
Shout out to that one person, man. I'd love to know who you are. I'd love to know, what was it that really did it for you? Because that's really awesome. And that's
I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them. Yeah.
That's the beauty of it, isn't that? Like they gave you different strokes, different folks. You had AEW on the other screen just presenting like nonstop. WWE is like, here's a bunch of pauses and ad breaks. AEW is like, here's 5 matches in an hour, and you're just it's a complete juxtaposition. It's a complete the exact opposite of whatever WWE runs, and I think that's good. And yeah, I'd say MVP being probably EO just for the year she's had on top of the match she's had. And as far as the least, I'm gonna say John. Honestly, John. Like it's not a great going out party for John Cena.
No, that's why. Yeah, I would go LVP is co-LVP for Triple H because he booked this crap and over promoted and under delivered. So you got to give him the LVP. But yeah, co-LVP is John Cena because he's like, oh, I played the cards that they give me. Well, dude, you need to play different cards. You need to ask them for some different cards because they have totally botched your retirement run with 5 dates remaining. So you have to be the LVP as well. MVP for me, I will go with AJ Lee making a return here, as well as I'll go moment of the night, AJ Lee winning alongside CM Punk in the mixed tag team matchup. And then match of the night, it's by a country mile, Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky for the women's championship.
Absolutely.
Yep. So we've made it to the end of our WWE Wrestlepalooza week and our Wrestlepalooza review. Want to thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for commenting in the live chat. Thank you to comment down below if you're watching us on demand. And thank you so much to Robert DeFelice for joining us today. Enjoy the ride talking about Wrestlepalooza and the state of WWE with you today. Always appreciate when you come on with us, Robert. Always got some fun takes, some fun insights to share with us. So let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they might see you again.
Yeah, you can follow me as it says right there at Dude Felice on all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitch, even YouTube. Where you might see me again, you can follow my written work over at Fightful.com. And as far as on camera, best bet is to just follow me, and I might pop up here again. I might pop up over on Fightful, just anywhere at all. You never know. But thanks for having me on, man.
Thank you, man. Always appreciate you having you on here and talking about shows, even this one. But yes, you can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSB3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at TrueHillHeat. Patreon.com/TrueHillHeat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. That's the best way to support us when we are not live here. And you can also check out our GOAT Match series. We will have a new episode, I believe, dropping later this week. So be on the lookout for that. And also check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like our AEW All Out 2025 review from yesterday with myself, Professor Chris, the True Draw Josh, and Jay News, breaking down all the action from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, the Jurassic Express reunion, Jack Perry return, Beth Phoenix debut, and the Hangman Adam Page, Kyle Fletcher Instant Classic, the Dorada star-making performance, and the build to Okada and Takeshita. A lot of good stuff from the review, so go over and check it out right now. I will be back with you tomorrow at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time with Rated Raw Review, reviewing tonight's Monday Night Raw that starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. For anyone who forgot, I'll be back with that tomorrow. Wednesday, I'll be here at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time with our NXT No Mercy preview, so be on the lookout for that. Thursday, AE Ramble, and then on Friday, our NJPW Destruction in Kobe preview. So be on the lookout for that as well. But thank you to Robert. Thank you to all of you. Remember to drop the thumbs up, share this video, subscribe if you are new. But for us, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been our WWE Wrestlepalooza 2025 review. We are signing off until next time. Later, y'all.